Good day to you peeps, Liesl here again, and if you can hear lots of background noise, there's trucks reversing outside. And welcome to the latest stage of our community Gitty build. We are now in the final phase, I would say, a little bit to do, but I do think probably the most exciting parts are to come. Yeah, so enough from me and straight in. Today we're going to do the holes for the machine heads or the tuning pegs, and also make a start, if not complete, the shaping on the back of the guitar neck and on the heel, one or two fancy bits, hopefully. I'm going to do two videos, so I'm going to do the tuning pegs first and then the neck as a separate entity. Just for practicality purposes really, and usage of the workbench, etc. So, straight in. So I did think for our wonderful community build here, we were going with these lovely golden colour machine heads, which I got off of Amazon. And I think they're pretty nice for this. They always have these stickers on the back. I like to take those off because I don't know, I just find them annoying really. So, and I have prepared the headstock slightly, just to save us time. Do forgive me, but I will be dipping off camera quite a bit during this film. Now I wanted to show you this, so I'm going to just unhook the neck from the bench briefly and give you one or two tips that hopefully will stop you from spending half an hour scratching your head, as I used to. Straight in. So you'll see, hopefully, I've marked two sort of parallel lines along the length of the headstock. And basically, I always think it's nice to have about 1/4 of an inch gap just at the edge of the holes, for the tuning pegs, so that it's not going to split through the wood when you attach the pegs and what have you. You see that I've done a double line because I like to go a little bit further still, just to give myself a bit of wiggle room. And you can draw those on, it makes it easy when you come to drill it. As for spacing them, you can measure it, but I tend to eyeball that, and you will get it accurate. So I'll show you how anyway. Once more, trying to film this is a bit random, but what I would do is place the pegs on, so just lay them on top. It doesn't matter if you have to go into the middle a little bit. And the rounded part, which is the machine, always needs to be pointing downwards, therefore not putting pressure on the wrong part of the machine head and breaking the mechanism. And yeah, basically hook it up against the bench if you can, and just sort of place them on. So I think one about there. This one goes on this side, so we want a little bit of wiggle room, but it doesn't need to be too much. One about there. I got these to balance earlier, but now I can't for the life of me, as usual. And I would say one about there. So if you can see that, it gives you an idea. Obviously they're going to be further away when we do the holes, but only a little, to be honest. That sits quite nicely in the middle. There will be enough room for the strings to go by. And just a little bit of headstock. And I did cut that to 4.5 inches, in case you're interested. And really, I would say that's about it. I mean, I do have a pencil here, so you can sort of roughly mark. If you just go up, find roughly the centre, and just do a little mark like that. Same with this one, I'll go on the same side, find roughly the centre, do a little mark there. And the same on this end, so I'd say it's probably about there. It doesn't have to be completely accurate. It's just to sort of get the spacings, and I think that's quite reasonable myself. So, I have this piece of scrap wood here. We just use that to form like a little cross mark. And we're going to sand this all obviously, so I would say use a soft pencil, because if you use a hard pencil it grooves into the wood. So use anything from an HB or a B, 2B, something like that. Anything you have really, but try and avoid using an H pencil because it will dig into the wood. That's something I learned from other luthiers, and I think it's a noteworthy point. So now we have the positions. We come to drill the holes. Now, I think the best way is to have a piece of wood that nicely supports it there. This does actually hook up to the edge of the bench. It's a bit difficult to show you, but basically you can see that's more or less what we want. A bit of scrap wood on the top, and then just go in and clamp that sort of fairly close about there. If it lifts up a bit at the back, that's fine, as long as this bit's nice and secure, because basically we don't want to split this wood as we're drilling the holes. Now, it was you, our wonderful community, that taught me this, because I was forever splitting the wood and having to fill it with fairy dust. So, as I say, we learn along the way, and we all learn from each other, which I think is brilliant in this community, and in the wider cigar box guitar community, it must be said. So, there we are. Where we have the little cross marks, we can drill the holes. Now, actually, one thing I will show you, because I think it's worthwhile. So that's the edge. We don't want the holes to go beyond there. What I do is simply take the drill bit, and you see where I've roughly marked it. It's more or less there anyway. And just line the edge of the drill bit with the pencil mark. And then once you've done that, which is about there, you can just pick it up. Says Liesl. So it's on the edge. And you can just pick it up and make a little groove there. And you've got that little point there, which is where you're going to put the centre of the drill bit. It's not going to go too far. We gave ourselves that little bit of wiggle room, so that should be fine. Same on the others, just line it up so the edge of the bit with the edge of the wood, go in, lift it, make a little mark there. And if it's not too visible, you can always make a mark with a pencil. But I do think that's visible enough, so that one needs to be a little bit further. And the same with this. So coming that way, just to the edge of the double line, pick it up, and we'll drill the hole about there. So there's our holes. There's one there, and one there. And they can vary in depth slightly if you want a bit more string room as you put the strings along. As we have the strings along the neck. So there that is. Now we want this part nicely clamped down again. Because I have found if you've got quite a solid piece of wood underneath, it stops the back part from splitting. I don't want the back to split really. It's not a big disaster if you do, because the back of the machine head tends to cover it. But we can avoid that, and I'll show you how. And this is something that I also learned from many fine luthiers on YouTube. So again, that's sort of flat. You can sort of go on the end there if it's possible, but I think that tends to get in the way, so let me just bolt it from there. If you get it quite tight, you see, then that's not going to move around and you get a really nice clean hole. Now for this job, I have to use what I call my big humping drill, and this drill frightens the living daylights out of me. It's so powerful, but I will show you how to go about it. Any drill you have is fine, obviously. I had a smaller one, it was more like a power driver, but that just disintegrated after about 12 months. This one's a lot more sturdy. And it's a plug-in, it's not a battery one, so I would say obviously have good foot protection on just in case you drop the drill, and always have it switched off at the plug socket until you're ready to use it. That's just a little general rule that I have for myself. I think it's sort of safety conscious. So also take the chuck key, see that's going nowhere, it's not powered up yet, out of the slot. I know this is obvious, but there is a method in my madness. Tighten the chuck nicely. And I say to myself, always put this straight back in here, because the amount of times I've lost it, needed it, where is it? So there we go. Right, so I think we're ready to go now. Remove any obstructions. Switch on the socket, and I always check to see that's this side, so on this drill that's in forward, that's reverse on the other way obviously, because what we're going to do is actually we're going to start in reverse. I know that sounds strange, but I learnt this from other luthiers, and it does prevent the top part from splitting. So basically just line it up in the hole, and you want the drill at the perpendicular. Obviously hold it in a safe manner and go in with it in reverse, and just gently add a little bit of pressure. You can always line up there as well with your lines there. Do a couple of small blasts. Do a couple of small blasts. So rather than just sort of, and just do that for say 1/8 of an inch or so. Because if you do it for too long, the drill bit starts smoking and setting off your smoke alarms, okay? Once you've gone through the first bit, then you can put it into forward and it won't split, hopefully. So put it on forward, keep it on the perpendicular, and just drill all the way through into the scrap piece. I should have said I'm sorry, this is very loud. So yeah, I hope that didn't offend your ears anyway. There's the first hole done. Moving on to the second, I'll do the same one on the second one on the same side probably. Just check our position. Again, put it in reverse. And then we can put it in forward motion. Keep it nice and straight. Always minding your fingers on things like this. So. I think that has it. And then last but not least, we'll do this one. Line it up with a hole. Mind your ears, or lower the volume. In reverse. And then back in forward. safely, probably best to let it stop spinning first. And there we have it. So hopefully we haven't split the wood. And we haven't, you see? So that's nice and neat on the back. It's nice and neat on the front. Good old-fashioned square-ended headstock. And at long last, we're ready now to start shaping the back of the neck, sanding the sides. The holes are drilled, and I'm saying job's a good one. If you have stayed to the very end, thank you ever so much. I think it's worthwhile because once you know this, you're not going to go wrong, and it saves you messing around, filling words, splitting word, re-gluing it. Just something I've learned down the years really, which I did want to pass on to you. So yeah, there it is. Next up, shaping the neck, as I say. And just before we go, let's just see, shall we? Sometimes you might have to file the rough bits out of there a little bit. But you'll see, that fits just lovely. That is actually a 10mm drill bit, I should mention, and this part here, the fat part, is 10mm. I did measure the width of the wood to discover that it's just about right, so happy days. We can always file that a bit flatter if we want to. But yeah, there it is. Let's try this side. And as you can see, they're going to look rather nice, and there'll be the third one on the bottom. So, peeps, wherever you are, do stay safe. Whatever you're doing, do stay blessed. And whatever life brings, keep building. Okay then, bye for now. Bye.